Welcome to, I guess, a special edition of the next episode of Two Amazing People. Special because I'm in London and this, I've got a shirt on. And if I spin around, we are in, Canary Wharf. And this episode is with Steve from episode 1. It's not with Steve, but his amazing person, his last second amazing person. I'm out to see Bryan today, and I've been trying to tie Bryan down, quite literally, to have this chat for about 3 months. So we've picked this spot because it's quiet, we've got a nice view behind us, we've settled down over here, and you're in for a treat. This is going to be a cracking conversation, and I hope you enjoy.
Just don't make me laugh, because that's really why it's your
If I just sit there and do that, we'll make sure we're squared up. You do a little chatty bit.
Can you hear me?
Don't know. There you go, bud.
You say that now and then the wind picks up.
Yeah, don't let this blow over. This is fine, mate.
Yeah? Excellent.
I think so. I'm waiting for the crowd to come around.
That's just going to be our luck, isn't it?
Right, dude. You got 11 questions.
Fantastic. That's a lot, right?
I know, mate. It's not. The worrying thing is, it's not even. My daughter is 7. She brought her homework home, schoolwork home, because it's end of school. And I'm looking at her handwriting, thinking it's like 100 times better than mine. It's ridiculous, and I realise how crappy mine is.
I had to give my son Noah notes the other week on his maths homework. It was embarrassing because he came back saying, "I can't read that, Dad." So, that's when you know you're in trouble.
Yeah, it's because you're old and lazy now, isn't it?
Yeah, there is that.
Anyway, yeah. So, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
First one in London.
Yeah. Well, it was a mission to try and find somewhere, wasn't it?
Yeah, first one wearing a shirt because I'm at a meeting thing later. Normally it'd be shorts and t-shirt like you.
Indeed.
But
it's the first one night out in a park area with loads of greenland and.
Yeah, but this is green for London, mate. You got a tree and you got a river.
We've got one tree, a bit of a river.
You're in the concrete jungle. But you know what this is about.
Yeah.
So, and I say it to everyone that I don't edit it.
Okay.
So whatever you say goes in.
That's fine.
And whatever you don't feel comfortable saying, don't say. Whatever you don't want to chat about, don't chat about.
No problem.
Just talk as you would.
No problem.
And that's how it works.
That's fine for me. I can talk for England.
And as I think a few people have cottoned on now, I put this bit in as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so it's in, mate. It's in. There you go. 30 minutes. I'll keep an eye on that. We'll see how we get on.
Yeah, no problem.
So, mate, you were nominated as an amazing person by Steve back in episode 1.
Yeah.
It's taken 3 months
to
tie you down because you're off doing global £1 billion plus deals.
Not get carried away. We're trying to sort things out.
Yeah, but still, don't play it down.
No.
But you were nominated as an amazing person. So what went through your mind when you heard that from Steve?
I thought he'd been drinking, to be honest. I thought he was mad. Because you don't think of yourself as an amazing person. You're just doing what you do.
Yeah.
So, like I was saying to you earlier, I watched 4 episodes on the way up to Manchester the other day.
Yeah, super fan.
Everyone kind of says this. Yeah, super fan, give me a t-shirt. Everyone kind of says the same thing. They don't think of themselves as an amazing person. And that's kind of how I looked at it. I just thought, I'm just me.
Yeah.
So,
that's the point of this.
But when someone like Steve writes and nominates you, and how I hold Steve in high esteem, it means something. So you're kind of honoured, and
But that's the point. I
did think he'd been drinking.
Yeah, he does say, doesn't he? He's got nothing else to do down there.
No, exactly.
But it's true. I put on my post when I put these out, the whole purpose is to shine a light on amazing people. Because amazing people, I think there's 2 sides, right? Amazing people that just go about their business and their life, just doing what they do, like you said.
Yeah.
They don't seek the spotlight. They don't look for that at all. They're just doing it. That's their life. Then you've got the other people who have an ego slightly inflated.
Yeah.
But they think they're amazing and
exactly.
they're trying to be something perhaps they're not.
Yeah.
People like yourself, you just do what you do.
Yeah.
So this shines a light on.
No, it's amazing,
mate.
I know we spoke about the concept just before we turned that on. It's just the whole concept behind it is making a difference. So
good.
Proud to be on it.
Oh, well done, mate. Well, you see how you get on with these in a minute.
Yeah, I might take that back.
You might be cursing Steve in a minute. But no, they're all friendly stuff, I think, now, anyway. So look, I've put here, you've had a successful journey in recruitment and construction, because you have.
Yeah.
Looking back, how did that world shape you as a leader, shape you as a leader and the person you are today?
I think it shaped me more of a person than a leader. But what it taught me was many valuable different lessons, because I met people who taught me different intricate parts, and I've kind of just combined it into being my own way. So when I was in recruitment, I looked at all the problems within the industry. I tried to solve things. I liked solving puzzles, and also thought what was wrong. Like, why are we doing that? It's the biggest thing I learned about myself. People use the terminology why, what, how. And I just started questioning things, and that's what made me better, or I think I'm a better person for it, because I just kept asking why. Why can't we do this? How do we fix that? What do we do here? Yeah. And I think that's what I've taken on. And
you said that as a person, but that's being a leader, isn't it?
Yeah, but you don't know that you're leading anyone until you're in that position. You're just trying to make a difference in your day-to-day mundane job, which recruitment turned out to be absolutely horrible. But it taught me how to get on the phone, get to where I need to get to, don't take no for an answer, because that drives you. But then when we get into construction, you're sitting there thinking, I'm sitting here, Christy, looking after a site, or I'm involved in this, and then I've got a guy that's putting his life on the line. No one's checking him out for health and safety. And you're like, why is no one doing that? So I started challenging things. But you never think of those things until you're in that situation. So that's where it kind of started to grow me to where I think I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right on my journey as I'm going through, but I can still improve.
But that's taking responsibility, like you're saying.
Yeah.
It's what a leader does.
But you don't know you're a leader till you're in that position.
No, but I feel like you're deflecting it. But
yeah, I like doing that. You'll find that out through this.
I do the same, honestly.
Yeah.
When I meet people the first time, if I can get it in first, I will. And it is ask about them and just keep asking about them.
Yeah.
If they ask about me first off, then I kind of go, here we go.
Yeah.
I have to talk now. And you get embarrassed, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the point of it, and that's what I'm very good at, or I think I'm good at, because I'll turn it around. We'll end up interviewing you in a minute.
You're in. I've got all these questions, and I get through them all, so we're going to do it now. So yeah, I'm going to move on to another one.
Yeah.
How did the experience in recruitment construction prepare you for the shift into something? I put like something completely different. So I put in here like climate and infrastructure at Carbons, because that's what you moved into.
Yeah.
And I'll do a proper intro, but your title, you put this on LinkedIn, Global Director of Carbons Building and Infrastructure.
Yeah, projects and infrastructure. Yeah.
Go on
then. So I wear two hats, basically. My first hat is Palmyrium Consultancy. That's my company.
Yeah.
And I built that. And I built that because I wanted to affect change, because I had a company probably 10 years ago now. Again, I tried to make a difference. I went into recruitment. I tried to change how people were paid and went for apprenticeships and stuff like that. But I just met not very nice people, horrible people. And sadly, I went bankrupt because I was involved in a business transaction. I didn't find out that I was getting factoring from Bibby, who'd done their financial checks on a client. Turned out that they were invoice factoring that client I was doing as well, and they were under investigation for fraud, but they didn't come back to me. So I was left in an absolute hole. And it was something outside of business that actually made me start looking at myself, and that was the birth of my daughter. And then I just started using experiences and kind of connecting things. So I met a fantastic guy called John Golston. He's an architect. As my business partner Gary kind of introduced me to him, and I was getting mentoring lessons from him, just listening to him. He wasn't actually mentoring me, I was just listening to his experience, and he was saying that he knows a bit about everything, but he doesn't know everything about everything. But what he's got is he's got certain people in positions to make sure that they know everything about everything. So I used that as a first example, and then I took that from there and then just started applying what I learned in recruitment about the fact you have to push forward, you have to have an effect. And then my knowledge of the construction sector. And I ended up meeting a fantastic person called Delicia over in Saudi Arabia. She's such an inspiring person. And I'm sure you'll find out about her later on. But I ended up meeting her, and then she introduced a guy called Pascal, who just the vision and the passion and everything that he was trying to change in the world. So I met him, realised where their journey was very similar to my own. And we could actually protect what they're doing, and they could add credibility to what we're trying to do. So where we're out here trying to change how construction's looked at, transparency, trying to affect everyone's lives, even to the point of down to the little nitty gritty, like recruitment, someone getting paid. Why is a candidate working every day and then having to pay the payroll company to access their own money? The recruitment agency that's got them out there working is earning more than enough money. So why don't they? It was just certain things like that. And then I just presented the idea to Pascal, and he loved it. So there and then, I kind of worked for Palmerium on a day-to-day basis, but with inside their organisation. And then we're out there just trying to lead everything that they've got going on, which I'm sure we're going to touch base on what they're doing in a minute.
Bits in there, But there's picking up on a couple bits there. I agree with you. I heard the saying when I first started out in the real world, if you like, and it was in construction. You can never know everything about everything. No. You just need to know enough about enough.
Yeah,
and that's it, isn't it?
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
The people that pretend that they know everything and whatnot. The reality is they probably don't know anything, mate.
No, and they're the biggest frauds, and they're the ones that, sadly, I don't mind saying this, but they're the ones that are up there at the moment, sitting in positions of power, saying they know everything, they know nothing, just because of who they know.
Yeah,
I hated that. So, just trying to change that.
You're making a difference, aren't you, mate?
Trying to
in the world.
I'm only little.
Hey,
I'm only little. It's hard to be recognising, draw attention, but hopefully with what we're doing now, we will. So.
You will, mate.
We'll see.
The other point I was going to pick up on, because you brushed over it really quickly, one of the reasons for change was the birth of your daughter.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get overly personal, but why was that? Because I'm a dad. I've got
two
kids.
Fine.
You know,
so I've got two children. I don't treat them any differently. I've got a boy, Noah, absolutely football mad. And he's kind of a mirror image of me, which drives his mum, Katie, mad.
Is he an Arsenal fan?
He is.
That's why he's mad.
Yeah, but we'll touch on that another time. But he's one of them people that he'll wear a different sports team's football shirt and think nothing of it.
Yeah.
You know, because he just loves football, and I think that's innocent. I think, like, as much as I'm telling him, get that top off.
Yeah.
But his mum's Irish, so I'm English. So then, when Ireland are playing England in the rugby, he's supporting Ireland. And I'm like, well, you can't support England in football then.
He just loves sport, eh?
But my daughter was the reason why I started looking at things differently, and she's born sadly with quadriplegic spastic cerebral palsy, and she goes through so much every day. And I sit there thinking, you're in pain 24/7. Don't matter how many medication you put in your body, you're still in pain. But you never moan, you never argue, you never. You know, she's non-verbal, so she can't tell you if she's in pain. She just gets on with it, and she just has this smile about her where you think, what the hell am I moaning about? Oh, I've had a bad day. Yeah, well, I'm not in pain, no, am I? So I just look at life a bit differently.
Yeah.
And that kind of made me look at Katie, where we're not together, but we're best friends. And my mindset on her was, as long as she's okay, then my kids are going to be okay. So like, she's like my best friend.
Yeah.
So if you can have different mindsets and outlooks on things, and that all came from the fact that Joshua was born. So
it is. I think I had this. It's all about personal things, right? I had this thing a few years ago where I was ridiculously unhappy, and I made a decision. I just chose to be happy.
Yeah.
Not choosing to be happy. It's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
And so you talk about your daughter and what you're doing now. You know, I'm pretty sure. I've never met her. I'm pretty sure she's choosing to just lead her life, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because she doesn't. Sadly, because of her condition, it wasn't that she was born normal and then she became bad. She was just born the way she was, and she just accepts it. She gets on because she doesn't know any different. Yeah. With us as people, we can make changes, but it's the people that sit there and they'd rather moan about it. Where I'm quite the opposite. It doesn't mean that those people are in the wrong. I'm not trying to tell anybody that's got maybe feeling down that, oh, you should be doing this. It's just how I found my best way to do it was looking at inspirational points and figures, and the majority of that comes from jokes, and then making sure Noah's got what he wants for his football career, and going from there.
Life's short, and so you picking up another little phrase. That's the thing about life's short, but it's the longest thing you'll ever do.
Yeah, exactly. Hey? Exactly that. Exactly.
It's a strange thing because you always say, "Oh, life's short."
Yeah.
Is it? Like, is it really? Because it is. You only get to live the time you're living, right?
And there's no do-over.
No.
There's no do-over.
No, so just do it in a nice way.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've digressed off of there. And I'll tell you whose fault that was. Steve, he gave me some pointers because he's watched every one. Super fan, number 2.
Yeah.
And he said, when somebody mentions something, just dig a bit deeper. And I try to say, I'll go on for ages, mate, if I do that.
Yeah.
So that bit was for him. Not anymore.
Thanks, Steve.
But anyways, here we go. So there's quite a few on here about carbons because it features. I use LinkedIn quite a lot.
Yeah.
And it features quite a lot on what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to guess it's going to become even more so a bigger part of your life.
Yeah.
So this one on here says, what drew you into the Carbon's mission? And was there a moment where it just clicked and you thought, I want to be a part of this?
Yeah, it was the first conversation I had with Pascal. And
Pascal, just for reference?
Pascal Van Knife is the CEO of Carbon's Global. And we'd been talking about some other technology. There's a guy called John Walters. We call him the godfather of lithium batteries. He created the very first ever battery tech, and then Ford Motor Group buried it, and then Elon Musk ended up purchasing it. So we was on a conference call with him, and then me and Pascal just kept in touch. Delicia made the introduction. And Pascal just said, hey man, listen, I've got access to this. What do you think? We just went over it, and I was in love with just hearing that there's something out there that can make a difference in a sustainable way. And there's one thing that Pascal says, and he says, we don't own the planet. We borrow it from the future people. He puts it more eloquently than I have.
No, you did all right.
But that, the actual saying is even better than that. But that's the mindset of carbons. You know, we're not here. We don't own it. We should be always thinking about the future generations, and even the future generations thinking about the future generations. And the technology, there's two parts to carbons, two major parts to it, but there's a third part, and it was the social farming, carbons farming thing that they call it. And that's the social side of it, and it's giving back to people. Kurji, who's part of the team, he says that money is a form of just success from doing what you're doing, but it's having an effect on being able to have an effect on other people, which is the real mission behind this. This is just money's just a consequence. Being able to affect people and leaving a legacy is what it was all about. And that mindset just drew me in from day one. And just ridiculous. And then obviously from a Palmyrian point of view, what better way to prove our concept as a company with probably the largest infrastructure setup that's going to happen in the next 20 years.
Yeah. But it goes back to this thing, about when you meet people and things align. You have this win-win scenario, and I love it. For me, I think it's great because you go into relationships or whatever it may be, and if you've got, if you just say capital W win, fine. But for me, you've got big letters win all the way through it, on all sides.
Yeah,
that's when amazing things happen and big successes happen because everyone is gaining from it in a nice way that affects them and others, right?
Yeah, exactly, and that's the biggest part behind it is. Everyone involved at the moment's got the same mindset, the same ethos, the same passions,
drive.
But there's been people that have been trying to come into it. Like some guy said, I'll pay you X amount of millions to become part of it, but I want 60% of it. And you're like, no, this isn't what this is for. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, mate.
But it's crazy. It's crazy.
Can't it?
But I'm honoured to be part of it, and I'm honoured to be working and doing what I do every day. I wake up with a smile on my face, go to bed with a smile on my face.
Yeah, but that's good. That's what you want.
Exactly.
You don't want to get up thinking, it's a Monday.
When you ask me what lesson did I learn from recruitment,
right,
don't do that.
Well, have I got the next one? Do you know what? Learns in the next question. You've taken on director roles in your own companies and now within a global team. So we keep saying global. It is. What's something you've learned from leading? Because you did lead, mate, whether you thought about it or not, but leading in different environments, because that's what you're bringing into this. Your past experiences.
It's going back to that thing I said earlier, when I don't know everything about everything. I know a bit about everything, and I try and know what's going on. But the biggest thing is to have a team around you, and that is either an internal team of people that are on the journey, or have partners that have got the same mindset that can have an effect. And if you surround yourself with similar people, it's like we were saying before this interview, you've got similar people in the community with the same mindset, you can have a massive effect. And that's what we've took into this scenario.
Yeah.
And actually Pascal put up a post last night on LinkedIn saying that the biggest journey that he learned was learning to delegate. Because it's not a case of trust. It was just, it's his baby, and it was hard for him to let go. And we've been able to get him to let go because we've built in the trust level.
Yeah.
And my learning from back then was to build that trust in
Yeah.
him. So, yeah.
And it's people, isn't it?
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to how would you build a successful business? But as one person, you can only take it so far. Then it's people.
Yeah.
It's the people that you bring in. It's the people that you delegate to.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the shared responsibilities. And if everyone has got the same mindset and vision, same attitude and approach, then that's when the amazing happens.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's happening right now. We've got a board, we've got a head table of construction consultancies who've got the same mindset. Met some fantastic people that are all joined in with a mission and a challenge to not just deliver these parts, but change the way that construction's done. And I'm not talking about that we're going out with robots and everything like that, but just ethically.
Yeah.
If that company's done that work, why can't we pay them on time without having to do retention and all this kind of stuff? So that's what we're building in anyway.
I know that world.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got a little bit of experience in that world. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So we're just trying to change things in that manner as well. So.
Right. I need to ask different questions other than carbons, but I'm sure there's more. Yeah, this might be the last one.
Yes.
Carbons. Carbons is working on a global scale, but what part of your role feels most meaningful to you personally? And you're only at the beginning of this as well.
Yeah, it's hard because, again, when we spoke earlier, we said about the carbons farming side of it, there's two other sides, and there's the forestry, which is having a major impact. So overnight carbons leased on a long-term lease, 20 plus 20, was 1.1 million hectares of land, which put them as one of the biggest landholders for forestry and sustainable forestry. Pretty much overnight, but then Pascal added another 4 million hectares in partnership with the indigenous tribes. So you're having an effect on them, and you're not taking it from them. You're adding value, bringing it back. So that's rewarding, having the conversations about that. But if I had to choose one part of it, the social farming's amazing, but it's the construction, because that is my background, that is my knowledge skill set, and because with Palmerian we're building Palmerian Nexus, which is a system, and it does all this kind of stuff, which I won't go into, but
that's right, mate.
We'll be here all day. Yeah, we'll be all day. But it's aimed at taking away risk, adding value, and just changing things. There's a massive community part of it. There's frameworks. It's just the things that I've seen that are wrong in construction, and just doing them right.
Yeah.
So if a company does the work, we pay them. If a worker goes out and does the work, we pay them for a payroll that's reputable, protected by a partner of ours, SafeRec, and they don't have to pay to access their own money. Just simple little things, but there's major things.
Just simple small things are the big things.
Yeah,
it is.
It's a combination of all of that, but in one go.
Yeah.
And having the ability to grow that whilst doing that, and knowing that that's going to be attached to that, as in the carbons, nano facilities, and all that. Hopefully, by the time we do them, we can show that construction can be done differently, and it can be done ethically.
But that's the whole point, isn't it? Because it's always about to stand out. You've got to literally stand out.
Yeah.
And so if you're doing things differently and trying to affect change, which you will, then it's only different for a while.
Yeah.
And then it becomes the norm.
Yeah.
That's the standard. That's the standard that people will work to.
Yeah.
And then you look back in, it also will take time to go through, but 10, 15, 20 years and go, did we really do that? Did we really do that?
Yeah.
And it'll happen.
Yeah.
And especially on the scale that you're doing it, it goes back to the spotlight, especially for the construction world. You've got some leading projects there globally. Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Global leading projects where people will showcase, and it will just roll and roll and roll into different continents, countries, filter down into the smaller, the man in the van level, if you like. Yeah. And they go, well, that's what we do now.
Yeah.
It'll take time, but it'll happen, right?
And it's one of those things people constantly say, why do that? Because it's the right thing to do. Because why would we want to go out there and
you can affect change?
Exactly.
You're put in a position now where you can affect change. Eh?
Exactly. So that's the biggest point of it, other than creating a legacy for my children, etc., and making sure, obviously, when I go, Josie can't move, she can't do anything, so I need to create a legacy for her, so she's looked after. But just as equally important is making a difference for people, because it's hard out there at the moment, and we are in a position to affect the change. So just do it.
That's the point, isn't it? Just get on with it.
Exactly. Exactly. But people try and stop you. That's the difference.
It's about just do it. I love that. And I think I might have mentioned this in one of the previous episodes about just the Nike slogan about what's the most important word out of just do it.
Mm.
And like most people go to the do because it's the doing.
Yeah.
Other people go to the it because the it's important. That's what inspires you. But they always come back to the just because the just makes it possible.
Yeah.
So if you were to go, we've got all this, so we just not take out just to do it. It sounds quite forced, but when you say we just do it, it makes it softens it, and it just makes you feel like it's possible.
Yeah.
So why don't you just do it?
Yeah.
I
love that.
So just do it.
That sloganology and stuff. I used to work a different way around. I'd be like, what are we doing? Why? How are we doing it? And why? And then I watched someone called Simon Sinek with his golden circle, and he reimagined it for Apple. And he went, why'd you do it? How'd you do it? What'd you do?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how we've built Palmerian, on that why basis all the time.
But it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Questions.
Yeah,
Leading.
exactly. Yeah.
Because you're a leader.
You're not a leader.
You are a leader.
Pulling strings.
Yeah, mate. How do you balance? My handwriting is terrible. I need to get. I might type these out next time. How do you balance the scale and ambition of this kind of project with keeping people and purpose at the centre?
Because that's the mindset. It's not me trying to imprint the purpose. The purpose is there. We have the purpose there central all the time, and we work from the purpose. So it's not moving, and it's quite easy because you've got the similar-minded people involved in it. So no one's trying to move the purpose or change the goalpost. We're very lucky. The whole team has just got the same mindset. Even partner companies, same mindset. But that doesn't happen overnight.
How are you gonna? This is one for Steve. It's not even written. It's a follow-up one, mate.
Yeah.
Digging deeper. Thanks, Steve.
Go for it.
That's the team you got at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But these projects, you're going to be employing tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Globally, at all different levels.
Yeah.
And you know what it's like when teams get bigger. That purpose can get lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are you going to keep that centre? Because
that purpose of carbons will never change. So that's the mindset you say that's from there. And it's funny because I had a chat with Steve Brighton earlier. We were talking about recruitment strategies and indicating the recruitment plan. When we need to add people, we need to put them in there. And we said that the forefront has to be constantly, all the time, that the purpose is here. You need to protect that, and we need the right kind of people. And if they're not available, is there a partner company that can do that kind of thing whilst we keep going? So it's trying to forecast 12 months ahead, but thinking of the here and now as well. So it is a juggle. The team is big enough right now to handle where we need to go right now. But the mindset and the mission of the company for Carbons and Palmerian will never change. And I think that's the key part of it. It's not like we're going to change our model because we're going to go and build hotels instead. It will happen the way it is, even to the point of the licensing of the technology. It written into the licenses is the fact that you have to have these principles, and if it doesn't, we'll take it away. Yeah. So it's trying to implement control, and the control is do not change the purpose. Yeah, and that's where it goes. That stays central, as you say, mate. Keep it central, regardless of what's going on. Yeah, you've got a fighting chance. Yeah, because it is a fight. You know what it's like. Construction world, recruitment world, building global teams. It's not always going to be a straight. It's the biggest unknown element in the world, isn't it? You're dealing with human beings. Yeah, so, you've done that before, mate. You know what you're up to. Yeah. A few more. All right. Yeah, go for it. What's a moment from the last few months that really made you pause and think, this is why I do this? Oh, that's a good question. I'm about 12 in, so we've finally got to one where you've gone, it's a good question. That is a great question. I think I can actually answer this with something that's happened just recently. All right. We had a meeting on Tuesday. It was the first meeting of the head table of the construction team. And it's very easy when you're talking to companies as individuals or people as individuals, telling them what you've got access to and what the mindset is. But to actually get a team of 6 in a room, 6 companies, not 6 people, in a room, and then introduce them to each other, and then instantly they're all working off of each other, clicking, and then they get to meet Pascal, and he links in and he shows everyone the forestry side, and then he's leaving them just as stunned as what I was when I first was introduced to what he's got going on and what his mindset was. That gave me a massive smile, because you'd put those teams together hoping that they got on.
Yeah.
You've put them together hoping that they understand what they're about to be presented around the mindset, the purpose, etc. And they just bought into everything. And then for an hour and a half after that, it was just pure joy watching everyone discuss what's coming up, what we need to do, that even forecasting the future, just saying, look, we need to be mindful of this. We covered probably 2 months worth of work in about 2.5 hours just speaking, because everyone was passionate about what they're doing.
How did you feel when you got home at the end of the day?
Knackered, because I carried on talking.
Yeah, but that's not that, again, you know, that does answer it perfectly, because that's when you know, like, you don't have many of those moments, right?
No.
And I think you have a lot more of those moments when you're, you know, personal life, family moments, and kids and growing up, and partners, other halves, what have you. But in business world, I don't think you have as many moments.
No, because it's always that risk factor.
Yes, you're right.
And your risk is that person going to like that person? In your home life, it's like, oh, it did.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you're in control of that. When you build this, you're like, oh.
Yeah, and you hope they like each other. You hope you think, well, I like you and I like you, so why don't you like each other?
Yeah,
why isn't this work?
Yeah, why am I in the middle now?
When you, like you just said, you got not just 6 people, 6 companies, and you brought them together hoping that they're all going to click, and then it does click.
Yeah,
that's a nice bit of validation as well, eh?
Yeah, it's
everything
fantastic.
that you've been doing in the past.
Yeah, and even to the point where I've only just met recently one of the companies that we've added to the head table, because I've interviewed a number of companies, and I've had mixed results where people say to your face, yeah, I'm in, and then they try and go behind your back to the source. It happens. It is what it is. But then don't just stand there and say to my face that you're in. Just be honest and
you
truthful.
Can see through that.
But I met someone recently at a company, and just instantly clicked, and the passion from the guy and the mindset and what he's trying to achieve, it was just blew me away, because it was like, oh, there are other people out there that, you know, not
nice.
saying I'm weird, do you
genuine,
know what I mean? Yeah, and just care about as much as you do, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's good.
Happy days, mate. Few more?
Yeah, go for it. I'm not the one that's got to go to an event later.
Hold on. I've got loads of time. They'll be all right. Was there ever a point in your career where you thought, I need to do something that matters more to me? And how did you respond to that feeling?
Yeah, it was when I built the original concept for Palmyrium, and I was working in the company, and I won't name the company because I love them to death and I still have a great relationship with them day to day. I was getting bored because it was too easy. You're doing project management, you're delivering a project, and not saying construction's easy, but if you do things the right way, it can become easy because it runs like clockwork. And I just sat there, and for 7 years I've been building what turned out to be Palmyrium, but the model. And I sat there and thought that as much as I love doing construction, I'm doing this and doing this, I want to do that. And it was a massive risk, and it still is a risk today. You know, we're building at the moment, and you know, every day is a challenge. You're thinking, oh, how am I going to pay that bill, because we haven't quite launched yet, and we've got this, and we've got this huge investment going on over there, and if that comes in, we're all sorted. But it's a massive juggle. But I just sat there and thought, I can't keep doing this knowing that that's there and it's a possibility. So again, I had a conversation with Kate, and I said, look, we're really secure over here and it's coming in, but I want to do that.
You need more. Yeah,
and she just looked at me and said, look, you're an idiot, but we trust you as a family.
Yeah.
Because like I said, she is my best friend, and I wouldn't see anything hurt her or anything like that, but I didn't want to put them at risk.
Yeah.
But then she just said, look, you've got to follow that. But at some point, if it doesn't work and we put dates on it, then you have to kind of give it a...
Yeah, but that's to realise a realistic view that you need.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, when you've got that mindset of, especially, you know, when you've just developed this idea, shiny, I'll go off and do that.
Yeah.
There's always risk to it, of course there is. But you also need to have somebody to kind of go, just pause a second, like, just stop.
Yeah.
Be sensible.
Yeah.
And I had this thing in business, you know, when you're having to make big decisions, and it was all to do with risk, and it was always this one question, and it was, if we do this, will it put our business under? And if the answer was no, then that makes it clears the mind, right? And it's the same when you're talking about personal life.
Yeah.
If you go off and do this, would we lose our home? Would we lose this, do this, do that? No, but at some point we might.
Yeah.
And it's that that conversation you need to have, right?
Exactly,
To
and that's
just bring you back a bit.
yeah, and that's the biggest thing. And why I respect Katie so much, and she is one of my amazing people. But I want to keep her kind of private away from everyone. But she allows me to be able to do this. But she's very quick to say no. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm a bit of a dreamer sometimes, and I think, oh, why can't I take
shiny,
why can't I take on world climate like by myself?
Go on then.
Because you can't.
Have you build a team, right?
Exactly. But yeah.
Has there ever been any moments of doubt since stepping into this new space, and what helped you overcome those doubts?
Yeah, there's always doubt, and I think doubt is a good thing to have because it keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
You know, and it's that risk element. I soon figured out that I'm quite good at risk and forecasting risk because I thought it was negative to look at risk. I thought you always had to be positive when you're trying to create a business. Didn't realise it was actually the reverse of that. If you've risk eliminated everything, then everything else is going to be okay because you've forecasted it. It's a learning curve.
Yeah.
But yeah, about 12 months ago, sitting there, and again, this has only been made possible because we've got a great network and a support team. We've kind of built our own community. But it was at a point where, just in between the old business going pop, and then me having this idea and things like that, it was just the scary part of being responsible for other people and their lives.
Yeah.
And that really went, oh no, I'm a donut, I can look after myself. But when we start talking about other people and them getting involved, and there was a girl that we had, she was doing marketing, she's fantastic, and it was right at the start of the journey, and we got knocked for money. Because you've got your ideal client, you know where you want to get to, but you still got bread and butter, so you take on a bit of consultancy work, and one of the clients knocked us. Then it ended up that I couldn't end up paying her, which then meant she couldn't pay her rent, and I was just sitting there thinking, oh no, I can't do this.
It's a burden, right?
But then again, I just looked at Jose and I thought, the hell am I moaning about? So I went out there the next day and I just went, right, I need to do that. Quickly wrapped it up and had it on. But yeah, it scared me a bit right at the start. But I've got no.
Yeah, I mean that does hold you back, doesn't it? I was chatting to you actually. I've mentioned this a couple of times about like drive, risk and whatnot. And and I know it's been on social media a lot as well about this example that if you had to, like for your business, let's just say, and you were hitting this ceiling, in your mind you hit this ceiling and you can't get past it, regardless of what you're trying to do. If you put the most strongest motivational factor in there, and it's like the lives of your loved ones, and it's to say in the next 12 months, if you don't hit, double your turnover, do whatever it is you're targeting, then that's it, your loved ones are dead. You'd do it. You'd find a way and get it done. Regardless of the risk, you look at the risk, but you'll be thinking, hold on, I've got to do this, I've got to push forward. And that's the most extreme example that you can possibly have, I would say.
Yeah.
And then it comes back to it all links into this just do it and why you're doing things. So you don't have to have that in the back of your mind because that's a negative place to be and it fuels you negatively. But it shows you that you could do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you talk about how do you affect global change, you can do it.
Yeah, you can.
If the motivation is there and the team is motivated in the same way, then go back to the question about doubts. Of course, there can be doubts.
Yeah.
But if you had that as your most extreme consequence of not doing it, you get it done.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's in you to do it. This is the thing with doubt. This is where I was trying to go to with it. That you just got to set it to the side sometimes, right?
But that's why it's powerful, and that's where you learn. When you're very young and you don't understand, you've got life experience and stuff, you put doubt there and you get scared and you're like, oh, I'm not
and you
going to
back
do
away from it.
All you use that as the inspiration and where that's the worst that could happen. That's the doubt. But actually, we can do it because we can just do it this way.
But you just understand that, and then I go back to negative. Not using that as negative energy to fuel you, but you look at the positive energy that will fuel you. Once you've got that, I understand that, but this is what we're going to do.
And that's kind of
doubt,
That's kind of the amazing thing. On a day-to-day basis, I work with obviously an amazing team, but there's two individuals that I work with on a daily basis, really in depth. And I've got loads of people I speak to that are friends, and I catch up with them. But the two main people are Gary and Delicia, and I'm the most optimistic person in the world because I don't think anything could be as bad as what Josie goes through. So I'm always pushing on. You've got Gary, who's probably Mr. Negative, we call him, and then you've got Delissa, who's in the middle. So she's kind of the calming
dream team, eh?
between us all. So we've got every element kind of covered, and it just works so well, to be fair. So, yeah.
Well, I think I've got one more.
Yeah, go for it.
When you look back on this chapter of your life, what do you hope people remember about your part in it all?
I had an effect. That I left a legacy, and that isn't from a personal standpoint because I've got a big ego. It's because if I achieve, and we achieve, as in Carbon's achieve, and Palmyrium achieves what we've set out to do, not only we have a better planet because of the nanotechnology and the fact that it gets rid of waste, creates valuable byproducts, and then we can have an effect on the economy, and we can have an effect on this and the social side of it. And Palmyrium's then shown that construction can be done differently. But then I've achieved my goal of leaving something for my children and knowing that they're protected. That's the biggest part for me.
I think you've already done it, mate.
I'm not there yet.
No, I mean, I think you've already done it. People always talk about legacies down the line, but you're the living legacy right now. You know, your kids will be looking at you in the way that you kind of want them to see you in 20, 30 years time. They're looking at you like that now, mate.
Yeah, no, see, you know, I get what you're saying. No, I get what you're saying, because Noah looks at me now and he's asking me about my day and he's really interested. But then I've got that net that I have to put around Jose, because I do have to treat her differently from any other child. If something happens to me and happens to Katie, she's just in a care home where people just leave her and walk away. I need to create that fund and community thing around her that people will go and talk to her. Because I've seen the care environment. It's not. It's amazing. There's amazing people out there, but you've still got the bad apples. You know? So that's where leaving the legacy. When I create, we talk about that. I do see it from now with Noah, and he's, "Oh, Dad, how did you get on today?" And but it's that thing for me about the protection thing around Jose, and that really drives me. And when we say about doubt, that's the thing that drives me forward, is to never give up, because I need to create that, and I can't stop. Yeah.
Well, no, you do have to stop. Because that's my question's done.
Is that it?
No, nearly. So I have the same two always at the end.
Yeah.
How can the listeners, and I always joke, the millions that are out there that don't tune in, but you know, there may be 100 or so that do, 200.
Yeah.
Maybe this one will break Steve's record. I hope so. How can the listeners help you? Because this is the whole point. Shine a light on amazing people. So don't bat this away.
No.
How can people help you?
It's really weird, because that's quite a difficult question to answer. But I'd probably say they can help me by helping themselves, by just being themselves. And if someone's got an idea, don't be scared of it. Don't be scared of it. Because if your idea comes to fruition and it affects me in my life, what I'm doing, then you've helped me. That's the way I look at it. Do I need anyone to phone me up on a daily basis to make sure I'm okay? Maybe, because I'm surrounded by nutters like Steve Bryson. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I think just be true to themselves. And if you're successful in your life, then I'm sure you'll touch my life later on down the line. So I don't need them to directly help me, if that makes sense. I don't need any referrals or.
It's not about referrals. You know, it might just be. It could be anything. It's not even business related. It could be anything that helps you, mate.
Yeah. Just buy more Arsenal stuff. So we get rid of Tottenham.
Let's go on.
Oh, we're going to leave that one, are we?
You could get, if you're going to get something, you could get a little T-shirt from last year with a trophy on it, because that's what Spurs won, didn't they? They won a trophy.
I'll get the female one then, because we won the European Cup.
That won't fit you. I don't think like. Well, they're cut differently, aren't they? You know.
Yeah.
Right, the last one.
Yeah.
This is the point. Who are you nominating as your two amazing people, and why? I'll close this, because you were obviously nominated by Steve.
Yeah.
As one of his amazing people, and this is how it works.
So it's tough.
What we're building.
It's tough, and I'd like to mention a few names just because I'm a massive fan of what they're doing. There's a company called P4HB, James Allen and Finbar, and what they're doing with material procurement and growing transparency, and trying to offer back to make sure that just what they're doing, their work, it is amazing, inspiring. There's a guy called Daniel Jin at Jinzhou Construction. He was the guy I was talking about. I've only just recently met him, but his passion and trying to make a difference is just awe-inspiring. But I have to choose the two people, other than Katie, who I would love you to go and interview, but she'd probably throw you out of the house.
I thought you were going to say she'll probably throw you under the bus. She'd be like, you said what about me?
She would definitely do that.
Let me tell you.
She would definitely do that.
Let me tell you a few things about him.
Yeah, and her boyfriend now wouldn't even be putting up a fight to go, no, he's a this guy. Yeah, go on, get it. No, I'm joking. Katie is my ultimate inspiration. She's amazing. The fact that she has to deal with so much on a daily basis. But if we talk on a work-life balance and who inspires me to do what I'm doing, the first person is Delicia Gibbs, business partner. Her life is just crazy. She has to put up with things every day again. She's got a low immune system because of something that happened previously. But she's still out there fighting every day.
Yeah.
She probably gets the worst hay fever I've ever seen in anyone. But she's still out there fighting every day. And her experience in life, she was a former forensic scientist. She became Rihanna's social media manager. Like her life experience, and she's challenging something at the moment with a friend of hers that they're trying to change women's cleanliness in India, with just simple things like tampons and things like that. So she's just an awe-inspiring person. And the second one, it's difficult because again I'm surrounded by so many people, like Bodie Trenton, an amazing architect in his practice. But I have to go with Pascal just because of what he's got going on. I've got to give a special mention to Gary Smith. And
how many mentions are you doing?
Yeah, because I just meet so many people.
You're the only person who's just gone, hold on a second.
Yeah, but I meet so many people. Like, up until this morning, I was still talking to Steve going, I'm sure not sure. But like Gary, like, I'd feel out of order if I didn't mention him because he's an amazing, inspiring person. But
he doesn't cut it. This is what you're going to say to him when he sees it.
No, because then I'm going to tell Pascal you've got to nominate Gary. I'm joking. But if you listen to what Pascal's been through, he's a simple farmer. He's a blockchain specialist. He's got access to this ultimately world-changing technology. And just the fact that he could sell it tomorrow and retire a very wealthy man, and that technology could be buried. But instead of that, he's out there trying to make a change and cover everyone and everything. I think he's definitely an amazing person.
Yeah, they both sound amazing, mate.
Thank you,
Brian. Enjoy that.
Thank you for chasing me for 3 months. I'm so sorry. Right? I've been busy. Yeah.
Should we see if it's recorded?
Yeah, go for it. That's where it hasn't been done.
This is where somebody walked past and pressed the off button.
Yeah.
So that was it. That was the chat with Brian, and I think he's now got a record for the longest ever episode, which is fitting because it's taken the longest ever time to get hold of him. And there's quite a lot to talk about. Bear in mind, he's on some amazing mission globally to make a difference. And I would, hand on heart, say he's going to achieve it. And that is, for me, incredible to have had this conversation with him at this stage of what he's building. And I look forward to seeing how it all evolves. I also look forward immensely to meeting his two amazing people that he's nominated and having a chat to them. I'm hoping it doesn't take me 3 months to tie them down to go and have a chat, but we'll see. As always, thank you for supporting, thank you for watching, and thank you. Keep being amazing.